Hi, this is Nikki for Guy Techie. Today I am comparing the sound quality of three different cassette decks at three drastically different prices. I first bought the Optimus SCT-86 pictured here at a Goodwill for $4. I had to replace the pinch roller because it was deformed. It was dented by the capstan because it was probably stored in the playback position where the roller was pressed against the capstan itself. It also needed a good cleaning of the tape transport, but the unit was rather clean inside and out. It's an entry-level deck from 1990 with the typical inexpensive tape mechanism and transport. I picked it up because it was a small and cute device and actually had the capability to play back and record type 1, 2, and 4 tapes. It also has Dolby NR, or Dolby Noise Reduction, which is basically Dolby B. It actually sounded pretty decent for what it is. But this was a slippery slope to my cassette tape nostalgia, so I started looking for something better. Because of this, I then bought two Aiwa AD-R40 decks. Pictured here basically for around 40 bucks each, and it was shipped for that price. They were both listed as not working, but I was hoping that it was just the belts. And if not, I have two of them to see if I can swap parts between each other to get at least one working unit. Neither were in good cosmetic condition, but when I got them, I saw that the belts were actually indeed melted and sticky, and the tape transport needed a good cleaning. They both have scratches and dings and dents all over the place, but inside it was pretty clean for both of them. One of them looked like someone attempted to work on it, and some of the wires were just not in the same place, as it was factory. I bought two replacement belts locally here for like another 15 bucks, and lo and behold, both played fine. I have now two working Aiwa AD-R40s, and they sound pretty good actually for what they are. A little better than the Optimus. These are auto reverse decks from 1989, and as you can see, the aesthetics are very from that time. It has a tape head that pulls double duty for recording and playback, and it physically flips around to play the reverse side. Now, Radio Shack actually has this as a rebranded model called the Realistic SCT-86. It was later then rebranded to Optimus, because that's what they were doing at the time. They were branding all the realistic names to Optimus. Like my first cassette deck in this video, which was an Optimus. As expected, it can deal with three types of tapes and has Dolby B and C. It also has Dolby HX Pro, which is a headroom extension technology. Now, from what I've read, it's basically a technology that dynamically adjusts the bias for the tape as it's being recorded so it can put down a signal that would reproduce well, especially for that tape. Or should I say specifically for that tape. I then learned about more advanced tape decks that uses three heads and dual capstans. So I searched around for a cassette deck that has those features, along with, manual fine bias and level controls. And as you can imagine, they still cost a pretty penny even today. You can find these models that are still around the $200 mark, so I felt lucky to have found this JVC TD-V661 for $135 actually. It checks everything in my want list except for maybe that 80s aesthetic. This is because this cassette deck hails from 1993. Besides having three heads and dual capstans, the JVC TD-V661 features Dolby B, C, and HX Pro, as well as fine bias and level controls to better calibrate to the tape you're recording on. And I also love the amber display. So what's the big deal with having 3 heads and dual capstans? Well, the 3 heads give dedicated jobs for each head instead of trying to combine jobs into one. With a typical dual head tape deck, you have a single head that pulls double duty for record and playback, and another head for erasing content. On a 3-head tape deck like this one, the playback and recording duties are separated. This allows you to monitor the tape as it's being recorded, and it lets you hear exactly what's being put down on tape in real time. So if the level is off, or if you hear audio dropping out because it was like bad tape that you're using, then you'll know right away rather than later and after the fact, playing back later. So you can actually fix the issue before you go too long in your recording session. The dual capstan, though, is supposed to allow for a more consistent tape speed and also a more consistent transport path. It also helps with keeping the tape pressure even on the heads and more consistent. Theoretically, if you lost the pressure pads on a cassette, it would still play fine in a machine like this. To test, I calibrated my JVC cassette deck to this new old stock Maxell XL2 high bias tape. It is a type 2 tape and it's 100-minute long in length. This tape isn't all that old. It's actually from around 1999 to 2000. I recorded a small clip to hopefully avoid being flagged for copyright infringement. I used Dolby B since the entry-level Optimus doesn't have Dolby C capabilities. Now take a listen to how an entry-level, a mid-range, and a high-end deck would sound. Now if you like this video, please press the like button and subscribe for more random tech stuff like this. Before I start, I want to let you guys know that the level has been set to 100% for each 3 of the tape decks. They were not modified in any way. As for the source, it's actually from the original CD ripped to FLAC format. The JVC was then calibrated to the tape, and the maximum recorded level was up to the Dolby symbol point where the JVC display recommended for me to adjust up to. So without any further ado, here is the playback.
All the good love when we're all alone. Keep it up, girl. Yeah, you turn me on. What kind of feeling? All the good love when we're all alone. Keep it up, girl. Yeah, you turn me on. What kind of feeling? All the good love when we're all alone. Keep it up, girl. Yeah, you turn me on. What time